So yeah, I've set up all of the accounts, got 2 Top Step X tabs running at the moment, Trade Syncer, second live account, everything is all set up. So that's perfect. You need to change the HZ on the monitor. So as of now, obviously, sweeper buy side, bearish bias, and you can also mark this is a 5-minute high, minor buy side, because that would also tick the hourly as bearish. Okay, so we've had a shift low in structure on the S and a failed first shift on NQ, so that's a failed shift in structure below the low. So the most recent or the most probable scenario now is that we've reached for buy stops towards the previous short-term high. So yeah, we can see a second shift below this low, which is fine, which will be our second shift. But if it fails again for a second shift, then it'll reach for buy stops and minor buy side. That's correct. So if you want to risk on your scaled accounts 600 per trade, but you also still want to trade your non-scaled accounts on your 50s and risk 300 a trade, that's possible. So you just run them as a 2x, just like Jack said. You run them as a multiple of a 2x. Yeah. So I recommend that you execute with an account that's on a standard risk, and then any account that risks more than 300, I just run them as a multiple of a 2x, a 5x, 10x. So that's the best way to run it. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. Get wallpaper engine if that's a Mac version. Okay. Wallpaper engine. How does that work? Yeah, I want to get a wallpaper that's of better quality. This one looks a little bit pixelated. Change current display resolution. Okay. Yeah. And so when I change the display resolution, I can do that in settings. And if you look at price as of now, so where would the invalidation low be? So we shift below this low. This would be the invalidation 5-minute low. So as of now, you can see we have a sweep of buy side. The first shift was failed. This is the second shift in structure. Okay. So the 5's currently bullish. And the 15 is now bullish. And the hourly is bullish. So we have a bullish bias. It's very important to stay on top of it. Okay. So you wouldn't look for shorts here. So just a quick update of the bias like that now tells us we are not looking to take a short. Okay. And then Optimal said ES invalidation. So ES has not invalidated shorts, but the bias has invalidated shorts. So the invalidation would be this low for price. Okay, you can remove London on NQ. Just leave Asia. You can re-put this as minor sell side. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, the 5 just got inversed, so that's a bearish bias. Okay, so that is a valid short. So that'll be with 3 contracts. Okay, so we're looking for a flat 2 to 1. So we would trail stops at this short-term low. So it was with 3 micros, as it's a 57 handle stop. We're looking for a flat 2 to 1. And then for those of you that are on prop firms which can't trade through news, which is going to be alpha futures, etc., you would have to close out of the position on your other accounts. So once it hits 56 and 30 seconds, so I'm going to give it a few minutes, I'm going to have to close out of the position. And then obviously on Top Step and the live account I'll be able to run it, but the other accounts I'll have to actually manually close out. Daniel S said, already made money in London session. If you already made money in London, there's no reason why you shouldn't take this trade. It doesn't put you at a lower probable edge if you've already made money or not. Can't trade through news? Yeah, so majority of prop firms you can't trade through news, that's correct. So I'm going to have to close out of this position in around a minute's time on majority of my accounts. So once it gets, because most prop firms have a 2-minute rule, and just to be safe, I'll close out at 56 and like 30 seconds. Yeah, Top Step's fine, so I'll continue to hold on Top Step and the live account, but not on the other accounts. Okay, so I'm going to close all of my positions only on Trade Sinker. Okay, so I had to close out there. I closed out on all of the Apex, Alpha Futures, etc. I'm still in on Top Step and the live accounts. So I closed them out in a slight profit, closed out for $100 on each. And then I'll continue to hold the rest of the accounts as of now. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I basically just hit flatten all, and I flatten my position across all of it. Yeah, so the daily was bearish, the 4 hours bearish, the 5 inversed, hence why we took the position. So with that inverse of the 5 at 950, then we took that entry, formed a bearish bias. You can see inverse order block on ES paired with a gap, also on NQ as well. So now we just continue to hold our position. I've only got it, I'm not going to make as much or lose as much, so around 65 of my accounts have been closed out for $100 profit. So why did I close out? Because there's news at 10 AM and it would violate all of my prop firms pretty much. One of the major rules is you can't hold through news. So this is not a crazy news event, but I'll continue to hold through this news event, which is fine. ICT Jesus, no, we're not in a bullish gap, no. It got inversed. As of now, there's no point to actually trail to. No, as I said, Apex doesn't allow it. So if you are on any sort of prop firm which isn't Top Step, then don't hold through news, okay? I'm only holding this on Top Step and my 2 live accounts, that's it. The rest of the firms I've fully closed out. So I've closed out on Take Profit, Alpha Futures, Apex, My Funded Futures. So I've only got a position on for Top Step and 2 live accounts, as I've said. So I don't know if Ibby can hear me. Maybe, I think you guys can hear me. I mean, the audio is pretty clean. I think we got some of the smoothest audio in the space. So as of now, just managing risk, we look at this low here, and for price to trade below this low, we would then trail to the previous short-term high. So hopefully that makes sense. But as of now, we still have an open risk on 2 live accounts and Top Step. And then the rest of the other accounts, I closed them up $100, which obviously is not much. accumulates across my accounts to about $6,500 in profit, which is relatively nothing. So you guys should be looking at the NQH26 contract. Okay, as you guys already know, that's the contract you should be monitoring. Okay. So we're currently trading out of a daily, this bearish order block here. So we can see does that trade to the short-term low, and then we trail. That's pretty much it. So far, I mean, it's not been the cleanest price action, but it's all about managing risk. That is NQH26, yeah. Yeah, it should start to pick up in a minute. Either we get taken out or it starts to run towards Asia lows. We've got a slight SMT bearish on NQ at data highs. But yeah, it's all about managing risk. I mean, as of now, there's not been a point for us to manage our risk. It's not actually taken any short-term lows. So we just continue with our position. That's all it is. So if price does take that short-term low, we would be trailing towards 75925. So as of now, we're not trailing at all. If ES takes the relative equal lows, which it does, not just yet. So if ES takes this low here, then our trail on NQ. There you go. So 75925. You just trail slightly to that area. So we've minimized risk slightly. Not much. I'm just going to look at 0.5. So currently minus sell side on NQ is our current point of break even. Okay, so what I am going to be doing, based off this current short-term low, I am going to be going towards break even once this low is taken. So I'm going break even here because of what we've seen, a massive accumulation period. So this low might act as manipulation, so I wouldn't want that for price. So I'm minimizing risk to break even. Okay, so now we either get a 2R or we don't, and we get break even. Okay, so that's on 2 live accounts and Top Step. So this is why we do run quite a few different prop firms, because some prop firms allow trading news and some don't. So unfortunately I did have to close out for only $100 profit on majority of the firms, and then I'm running obviously Top Step and the other accounts. Okay, so yeah, this is accumulation, this is essentially manipulation. So that's why I did go break even, and I didn't use the 50% rule of going break even on this case. ES has also taken a lot of points of sell side and has ran more aggressively than NQ. So price shouldn't return back to this area, hence why I am break even in this case. I'll be happily taken out if that is where price runs to. Okay, once we take Asia lows, I'm going to treat this as a point to aggressively trail into a profit. So I'll start to aggressively trail, especially to the breakaway gap high, and then if we have any short-term highs created around this area, I'll start to aggressively trail. Okay, so I am going to use and trail my stop. So I just hit TP on Top Step, so Top Steps actually hit TP, that was a 2R. Okay, so I'm actually trading to the, as of now, I'm going to trail because that's over 75%. I'm trading to a 1R profit. Okay, so 7.4. So I want to see price continue to accelerate lower, and I'll trail towards 7.4. So this is quite an aggressive trail, extremely aggressive. Top Step has already hit a 2R, so Top Step's closed out. So I got 1.2k profit across all accounts, and then I got $600 profit across the other accounts as well. So that was good, but just didn't get it on all of the other accounts, which is fine. So some of you guys on Apex, you wouldn't have caught it on Apex, Alpha Futures. Okay. So as of now, I either get 1R on this account, or I get the full 2R, because we have taken Asia lows now. So it's accumulation and it's manipulated the low, so I aggressively trailed in that scenario. Okay. So we either respect this gap or not. Okay, so I'm taken out there. So cancel your limits. Alright. So hopefully that trade made sense. The way we managed our risk was perfect, and how we trailed our position as well, because this is accumulation after our entry and that is manipulation. So the likely scenario now is that price actually trades towards minor buy side. Okay. How much R did I make? So I got a 2R on my Top Step accounts because I got an entry on Top Step. By the time I got to that screen, I got an entry here, So top step actually hit a 2R, and then on this account, let's have a look. So my entry on this account, I based it off this, and it was a stop at the high, which was there, and I closed out here. So I got a 0.71 ish R. Maybe I got a bit of a later entry around there. So yeah, about 0.75 R on this live account. The other live account got around the same entry, so it'd be the same result. And then top step hit a 2R. Okay. So what I am going to do is just continue to monitor price, okay? So I'm going to be waiting for the second day of macro, and also waiting for the lunch macro. If there's any other opportunities, I'll continue to put my edge forward. So I'll delete what we can see on the chart as of now. So you can see the fact we closed out for a 0.75 R after this accumulation, and that price is reaching towards buy stops now, okay? So this is AMD for price to reach towards buy side. So hopefully that makes sense. And the bias was the inverse of the 5, which shifted it towards being bearish. So caught slightly later entry, and then we had to manage it because when you trade prop firms, you got to make sure that you don't violate any rules. And one of the #1 rules is not holding through news. So I flattened all of my positions at 9:56 and 40 seconds. And most prop firms, they run a 1-minute rule or a 2-minute rule and potentially a 3-minute rule. So that's why I just, I close out. Let me read the chat. But Milo, I am confused. You closed out other positions on prop firm news rules. The news is at 10 AM. Why not a tier 1 news? It was red folder news, so you can't actually hold through, or even, they say to close out 1 minute before. Some prop firms are 2 minutes, so I was just being safe to close out around the 56-minute mark. Lewis, 3.2k balance already after a payout the other day. Nice, Lewis. So you can take another payout there if you're eligible, or you can continue to build that account. Is that on top step? So you can take, I would take 1.2k. So if that's on 5 accounts, that'll be about 7k payout. Would it ever be a case where we would get out of the trade on prop firms that don't allow news trading, but once the news is over, we get back if the trade is still valid? I don't personally get back in, because the prop firms also have a rule where you can't get straight into a trade after news. You have to wait around a minute after, I think. So I was just being more safe. I'd rather not lose my capital over that, so I didn't get back into the trade. Hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, 1 minute or 2 minutes after the news, then it would be okay. But I'm waiting for the second day at macro now. So yeah, so MK said it's 2 minutes before and after news for alpha futures. You see, so I've read the terms and conditions for majority of these firms that I work with, and some of the firms like Take Profit Trader is 1 minute, alpha futures is 2 minutes, and the other firms are 2 minutes. I think I might have seen one for 3 minutes. So yeah, so when I seen that this candle here or it was this, yeah. So when I seen this candle here run the accounts into a slight profit, I just closed out as of that point, and then that was it. So hopefully that makes sense. Elite trading, you've just asked the same question that someone just asked, and that one is, yeah, we literally just discussed that. Amazing risk management, yeah. So exactly price action trading, exactly how I said. So the news didn't really cause much of an impact, hence why I knew it wasn't going to cause much of an impact, hence why I held through the news on my 2 live accounts and Top Step. And then it traded towards TP on Top Step. Live account got a aggressive trail towards this candle high. So when we see a candle like this, which is extremely aggressive, I wanted price to continue, because this is accumulation, manipulation of Asian lows, so distributing towards buy side. I knew this was going to happen, hence why I didn't trail just to the breakaway gap high, I trailed to the same candle high. So I either got the next candle to hit TP, or I got at least a 1R. So hopefully, you know, that makes sense. So regardless, you know, we're going to be monitoring the second AM macro, looking for opportunities, and also looking at the lunch macro as well. Okay, this is also how we're going to monitor the whole of 2026. So even after a winning trade, we continue to monitor price. That's how it's always going to be. So as far as implementing the London and the PM, we backtested obviously yesterday of July, and then today after the live stream today, so after we're done with the New York session, we're going to be monitoring price throughout the month of August in 2025, and we're going to look at getting a result for August. We'll see how we close out, and then on Saturday we are going to be monitoring October of 2025 for London and the PM, and then I'll make a decision on Saturday if we need to do Sunday to do November. We'll see, but I think 2 more months would be enough data to conclude whether I'm going to add London or the PM or both. Was that a win because I can't trade news? Yeah, it was a winning trade. I mean, I made money. So I made money on 2 live accounts and Top Step. So I made 1.2 times 5, which is 5,000, 6,000. And then I made on 5 other Top Steps, I made 549. So 54978 times 5. 6,000, 7, 8, 8.5. I made about 25. So not close to how much I would usually make. You know, 65-ish of my accounts were deactivated at 9:56. You know, I had to close those positions there. So, you know, you guys got the full guide through that. Okay, I'll speak to you guys at 10:35 a.m. Okay, I'm just going to go downstairs and get my chocolate milk. Alright, yes guys, welcome back for the second day of macro. If you got any questions before the 2nd AM, let me know. But as I said, price is drawing towards buy side, so you've seen it accumulate, and then we aggressively trailed, and then it draws towards buy side. So that's just AMD, pretty simple. Hopefully that makes sense. And then in the 2nd AM, obviously we'd be looking for shorts, so it's a sweeper buy side. See if price presents opportunity for shorts. Yeah, I've got the chocolate milk, so I got 4 bottles of it. So just cracking this one open now. I'll chat to you guys in a sec. So yeah, that's a pretty good question. So, Free Hunter said, do I need TradeSync Pro or is basic enough? Well, it depends how many accounts you have. So you can get a limit, I think, of 20 accounts on the normal or the second plan. But I would recommend, if you're looking to scale pretty big, then you're definitely going to need the other plan, which allows you to have up to 120 accounts. So yeah, you're going to need that. But yeah, also the reason why I closed out on all of my majority of prop firm accounts there on TradeSync is because there is prop firms in TradeSync file that I have copied that violate the rule to hold past 10 AM, and then some don't and some do. But the only prop firm that I actually have separate outside of TradeSync as a separate tab is TopStep, and I know through TopStep you can hold through news, which is fine. Hence why I kept that one open, 2 lives open, and then TradeSync had to close because some can and some can't. So yeah, so make sure I got the $150 a month, and it gets you 120 accounts to group. So you might find that one beneficial, or maybe you only need the $100 a month. I mean, it's not much of a difference when you're trading that many accounts, but if you're only trading like 20 accounts, then 100 a month will be fine. So it depends. Apex can hold through news. Yep, but then you got firms like Alpha Futures, which you can't hold through news. I'm pretty sure Alpha Futures you can't. And under TradeSync, I'm running a lot of prop firms, and I know for a fact that some of the firms definitely can't hold through news. So unless you have the advanced plan with Alpha Futures, I have the advanced plan for myself, but obviously, as you guys know, I'm running it as on a bigger scale, so the other side is not advanced and it's the standard plan, which last time I checked on the standard plan on Alpha Futures, there is restrictions with holding through news. So yeah. Yeah, hopefully that answers you guys' questions. So approaching the second day of macro, we would do our bias in 4 minutes time. Automatically, with a sweep of buy side, you're going to be looking for shorts, and we can rearrange these lows. So you can delete Asia because it's old, it's been taken, delete minor buy side. We'll redo our bias in 4 minutes, and then we just look for price to form a model in the second AM. Okay, so this is how we're going to monitor price through 2026, where we just continue. If we have a winning trade, we just continue to monitor price. And the PM session, I'm 95% sure I'm going to be monitoring from Monday next week. So we'll be monitoring the PM session. As far as London, I'm currently 50-50 whether I'm going to add the London and monitor from there. We'll see. But backtesting and seeing results is the only thing that's going to give me the go ahead to monitor London in live price and risk capital. Okay, so that's why we're doing our market research pretty much. It's like a business, right? So we're doing our actual research from previous price, getting results. I'm already 95% sure I want to monitor the PM because I've got a lot more experience and money out of the market from the PM in the past from forward testing. So as far as London, I don't have that much experience. I actually stopped trading London back in around 2023 because it was relatively slow, and the liquidity back in 2023 was still pretty slow in the New York session, so you can imagine what London was like. But yeah, as of now, yesterday we monitored the London session and the PM through July, which July tends to be the slowest month of the year. So I wasn't really expecting too much, to be honest. But now we're doing August and October, which are two of the most volatile months of the year, really, alongside March and April. Good question. So he said, how will trading all macros, even if we have a winning trade, impact the consistency rule on prop firms? So with the consistency rule, let's say you're running Apex, you would only be allowed to take 2 winning trades of $600 in profit, and then you wouldn't take any more trades on Apex. So it depends on the consistency rule that you have on that firm. So all that you would do, very simply, is go on to Trade Syncer. Okay, so let's say you have a winning trade, and then you have another winning trade. Okay, so now you're up 4R, right? So you made 600, and then you made another 600, so you're up 1.2. That's fine. You can make 1.2 on Apex. That's fine, because your payout balance would be around like 3.4k, which is fine. You can take what you need. As far as that, you wouldn't want to take any more winning trades. So let's say there was a 5 or a 6R day, which can happen. So the way that you would approach Apex is just go on Trade Syncer and turn it off. So unlink Apex from Trade Syncer, if that makes sense. So the firms that have consistency rules of 30%, like Apex, etc., and Tradeify, you would unlink them from Trade Syncer. And then the other firms, which maybe don't have a consistency rule, like My Funded Futures, Top Step, etc., then you can just continue to trade them for any other opportunities. And you're probably thinking, so you take a winning trade and you're going to continue to monitor price. What is the risk on that? What's the risk? So the risk is that you end the day break even. So you have a position that is a winning trade. Okay, let's say it runs for a 2R and you take 2 losses and you're at 0R on the day. So 2 losses equals break even. So after a winning trade, when you approach the trading day, the worst result you have is minus 2R, as it's always been. And the best result, if you're to monitor price and have winning trades and not stop after a winning trade, essentially as of now anyway, is 6R, because we monitor 3 New York sessions. If it's the PM, then it's 8R, and then with London, it's 12R. So it ultimately depends, but that's how you would manage the consistency rules. So you're going to be just fine with that. How does the consistency rule work? So your balance at payout has to be 30. So your biggest trade, let's say, well, I'm going to have to cut you short actually with that question because I need to do the bias. So let me do the bias first and I'll come back to that. So the daily's bearish. The 4-hour time frame is bearish. The 1-hour time frame is bearish. The 15-minute time frame is bearish. This is a very strong bearish bias, and the 5 is going to be bullish. I already knew that. Okay, so we're looking at a strong bearish bias across the board. We are approaching the second AM macro. We're forming a model. So we have a bearish bias, sweeper buy side, a shift in structure on both assets, an inverse order block paired with the gap. That's forming in 7 seconds. So as soon as the macro comes, we're going to look for an entry short. Hopefully that makes sense. The whole higher time frame is currently bearish, and nothing's going to change that throughout this macro. It's going to be very hard to change. until we hit 11 a.m. And validation low sits as here. So hopefully that makes sense. That's the IV. So we wouldn't want price to take this area. Other than that, we can take first presented gaps, etc. So as we approach the macro in a few minutes, make sure your accounts are grouped together, obviously. And then we can start looking at position size on how much we should be risking in the amount of contracts. So let's briefly work this out on the first presented gap, because it's a possibility we're going to get an entry off the first presented gap. We're looking at 60 point stop, and we're looking at a flat 2 to 1. Okay. So obviously that's not an entry, guys. That's not an entry. We're not in macro yet, so you got to wait around a minute and a half. So if you go to the risk management, 60 points is 3 micros. So an entry off this gap would be 3 micros. Same position size as before. So another type of an invalidation low, for example, I wouldn't want to take this trade if price created a bearish order block around this area and then inversed it. But that's not going to happen as of now, so it's fine. So if price trades back towards the gap, we can look for an entry. So we do have a first presented gap here as of this area, but it's an 80 handle stop. Let me share my screen. Someone said it frozen, so it shouldn't be frozen now. So we have a first presented gap here, which is an 80 handle stop. It would be with 2 micros. And then this gap is 3 micros. So if ES takes the invalidation low, then I'm not looking to take a position. So this would be a 2 micro size for a $300 risk, and then 4 micros for 600. I'm not taking that first presented gap. I won't take that. The minimum is that I'll take this upper gap. So you can see this is around a 93 handle stop. That's too much. So the entry we're looking for is 799, but if we don't get that, it's fine. so we're looking at a 2 micro entry here. Full higher time frames bearish. Alright. And then you can mark this low as TS. And then if we zoom into this, so 87875. And then we're looking at a flat 2 to 1. So once this candle closes and takes that short-term low, we're trailed to the high, which is basically break even. And the high is at 800.25, trading out of this bearish order block. So we'll see if it takes the low, so it'll be 800.25, which is relatively break even if it takes that low. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So yeah, hopefully this trade makes sense. So our new point of TS is this low. So once price trades below the invalidation low, that's when we'd likely see price start to accelerate lower. If not, then it starts to trade into these imbalances, so we'll see. Mojo said, what happened with the entry after order block is created and no fair value gap created? Yeah, we've already implemented that about 2 weeks ago, brother. We've taken a couple trades already from price tapping an order block after entry. We've already implemented that for price. Alright, it's time for a cigar. It's a Cuban. So yeah, my top step account as of now, they're both sides are up 2R, and this either gives us 4R on the day or 1R. Okay, as of now anyway, until we minimize our risk at the short-term low, and that would lock in about 1.8. So we're currently looking at 808.5 with TS. What happened to partial entry? What do you mean partial entry? Premature entries? I mean, you either get an entry or you don't. There's no premature entries, that's not a thing. Okay, so that's 808.5. So we've minimized risk. Let me just put that where it needs to be. So 808.5. So we've minimized risk now from 80 points to 9. So that's that's an 85% decrease in risk. Okay. So let me cancel my previous order. Okay, and then also drag down top step as well. There you go. So we're risking about 0.01 or 0.015R as of now. So I'm risking $50 on the other accounts here. And then I'm going to leave Trade Sync open because sometimes it won't close out. You just want to hit the flatten button. So I always keep my cursor hovering open over the flatten button just in case I have to manually close out on the accounts. And then we would also use this short-term low. So we either trade out of this bearish order block and respect it and draw lower, or price takes us out. We're barely risking anything, risking relatively nothing. And we trail to the previous short-term high at this one as well. Mine said he's risking $23. Yeah, you should be relatively risking nothing as of now. Yeah, so you should be risking anywhere from about 0.1 to 0.2 R on your accounts. Right, I'm getting ready to flatten the positions if they don't close. Yeah, and it closed it for me. So all of the accounts, so Apex, Alpha Futures, Take Profit, My Funded, all of the accounts are currently sat at $50 a profit, $30 a profit, so that's relatively break even there. So up like 0.1 R from that previous trade. And then the top step accounts, they're currently up 496 and then $1,120 on the others. I'll cancel this limit here as well. Okay, so that concludes the second AM macro. How many top step do I have? Well, I'm recording for YouTube at the moment, so I can't officially say, but I've got 5 accounts. I'll say I got 5. I've got one under my name anyway. It's basically just say 6. Yeah, so hopefully that trade made sense. We managed our risk very well. Yeah, the Feds. No, so we don't take 2 trades inside of the same macro, so now we're waiting for the lunch. And it's quite rare that we would take a trade in the first, second and third, so we'll see what we get in the third. If there's no trades, then we're going to go straight onto our backtesting session, which is going to be August for London and PM backtesting. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to be taking a payout on top step because I've got a balance that I need to bring down. It's a bit high. So I'm taking a payout on both sides of top step, you know. Okay, hello guys, welcome back for the lunch macro. So looking at price, we've swept buy side and I want to analyze failed shifts in structure here. Okay, so the two trades we've taken today, you can see it was this trade. As you can see, and I got a result of about 0.75 and I got 2 hour on top step. The reason why I got 2 hour on top step is because my entry was around this area here, which ran my stop slightly less, and then my TP, you can see, got hit around a 2R. So let's delete our previous work. Sell side, just copy that, and you can change that to relative equal lows. Okay, so price shifted structure, inverse the order block paired with the gap, traded out of it outside of macro, traded lower, took this low, another low, another low, another low. The most probable scenario right now is that price reprices for buy stops on the short-term highs. Not to say we don't have a bearish bias, but nor would we take a position short, as price has taken in validation lows and sell stops along the way. So I just look for price to take buy stops again, and then I can seek a opportunity. Okay, so I'm going to get on to doing the buys. So the daily's still bearish, and the 4 hours still bearish, and the hourly's bearish, and the 15's bullish, and the 5 is bullish. So we got an intraday bullish bias and a higher time frame bearish, which is an overall bullish bias. So we look for a sweep of buy stops, price to reprice buy stops, sweep buy side, yeah, simple stuff, guys. And then after this lunch macro, we're going to get on to doing our backtesting session for August 2025, London and PM session. $11.04 is our IV. So I don't know if you've just joined the stream, but we're looking for a sweep of buy stops, buy side. So price actually formed a model and shifted structure, traded lower, took a short-term low, second short-term low, a third, a fourth, a fifth. So this is all sweeps of sell stops. So I want to see a new model, and we're not going to work off an old model like this. Okay, so we're looking for price to sweep buy stops, at least this short-term high for price, and then see a model for shorts. Relative equal lows is the draw, so the draw is relative equal lows. That's pretty much it, so hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Just for exercise, the low would be this one at 11.04, that's correct. So we displaced on the first low, the second low is fine, it's actually inversed order block paired with a potential gap. That would be the IV, so it is correct of what you said. YCC, triple E. And we'll see how many of you guys also tune in for the backtesting session as well. So what we're going to do is, after this lunch, I'm going to make a stake. Okay. I'm going to upload this live stream from today. And then from there, we're going to go live around 1 PM EST. So we'll probably be about an hour. I just need to get, another meal in. So, I'll get a steak in, a few potatoes or whatever, and then we'll get to the backtesting. I don't know if we'll do a whole month today. We might do half the month, or we might do the whole month. But there's no rush. We're ahead of schedule by 1 day as of now for backtesting, so it's fine. But I'm going to try work to do the whole month of August. What steak I got? It's not A5, so it's not actually like... It is Wagyu steak, but it's from Australia, so it's not from Japan. Obviously A5 is from Japan, and it's from a Wagyu cow, like the genetics. So the genetics of the Wagyu cow was many years ago exported to Australia and different countries, so it's still a very good quality steak. Tesco ribeye. Yeah, it doesn't really hit the same. I don't really like ribeyes, to be honest. They have a lot of fat on them. I've had quite a few ribeyes, but I always prefer just either, if I don't get Wagyu, then I'll get a grass-fed fillet steak. So grass-fed fillet is just as good as a Wagyu ribeye. I mean, I'd rather have a grass-fed fillet than a Wagyu ribeye, to be honest. It's all personal preference, to be honest. Hello mate, new member here. Hello my brother. I mean, if you got any questions, feel free. We've got a great community here, and even if you don't hear an answer from me outside of the live streams, then we have the general chat, we have the questions channel. Countless people are going to be here to answer your question because they're helpful, you know. And yeah. Yeah, I remember the days when I was in the UK, you know, I used to shop at Aldi's. I never really shopped at Tesco, to be honest. I used to shop at Aldi's, and I used to get all of my food from Aldi's and bulk at Aldi's for about £80 for a shop. This was back in 2021 when I was first discovering and learning ICT. I was bulking whilst trading ICT, whilst in the warehouse. I don't think Aldi's got Wagyu steak from my memory anyway. I mean, I didn't even be able to afford the nicer quality steaks back in the day, so usually I got the steak bites, so it's like the offcuts, the sliced steak bites, chicken breast, and then yeah, chocolate milk, obviously, a few different things. I mean, we got Dr. Sean here, so I'm not going to start talking about baby spinach, because it's not advised by Dr. Scene. It's not advised by Dr. Scene to eat spinach, so we won't speak about that. It's banned in his world anyway. He's banned spinach. It's the number one cause of death in the UK is spinach by Dr. Scene. How much are the steaks that I buy now? Yeah, good question. So in the US, when I used to go grocery shopping, I never used to get a good quality steak. And if we just look at price action, okay, we have obviously a bearish bias, and we have now swept buy stops. So I am actively looking for shorts. This is the IV, the same as before, 1104. So we're displaced below this low. This is an inverse order block low as well, so that's fine. That's a second low. That's the IV. So we'd see as of now if we get a shift lower in structure, or price continues towards buy side. So when I was in the US, each steak would cost me about $30 to $50 for the nicer steaks, the nicer fillet steaks. They'd be like $30-50, and I'd buy usually about 7 of them. I have one a day, right? So it's like what, $350 worth of steak, 400 for the week. But here I get a better quality steak, and how much do I pay? I don't really know about the price. I know it's definitely less. Let me think. Matter of fact, I've got a photo. I took a photo of the steaks once, and I think it might display the price. So It's a good question because I think some people are thinking about moving to Thailand. It's going to be a question, oh yeah, how much is it for groceries? And I don't personally order. I used to order a lot from restaurants, but it's very high in salt. Which salt's also you need very much. You need a good amount of salt. Salt's good for your heart and health and everything, but um, it's not really the health that the food when you're ordering. It's not good. I mean, it's better for saving time. When I cook at the apartment, it saves time. I don't have to go downstairs and eat, etc. Yeah, I mean, in Thailand, I spend more on groceries than I do if I eat out, but I'd rather eat groceries because I get a better quality of food. I've gone for more on the quality side of things than drinking plastic water bottles. I'm drinking glass bottled spring water only with electrolytes. Instead of the normal chicken, it's organic chicken, organic eggs, um, and then Wagyu steak, fillet steak, grass fed. You know what you're eating, that's what I'm trying to say. I've actually found a photo. So basically, they sell the steaks. Let's have a look. Okay, so they sell it by the kg. So I buy it by the kg. They sell 1,500 baht, so 1,500 Thai baht for 1 kg of grass-fed fillet steak. So if you want that in USD, if you do 1,500 baht to USD, it's $47 per kg of grass-fed fillet steak, so fillet. And those steaks are, in my opinion, the best. So how much steak do you get? That's around, each steak's about 300 grams. So 300 gram steak is pretty big. So you get 3 steaks for $47 and they're grass fed and they come from Australia. So that works out to be how much? Like $12 a steak? $15 a steak? And then they sell the other steaks, which are the ribeye Wagyu steaks. They come at 3,190 baht per kg. So 3,190 is $101 per kg. So that's going to be about $30 a steak. So you either pay 30 for Wagyu ribeye, or you pay about 13 to 15 per fillet. I don't factor cost of living in Thailand as an expense, so that's how good it is, to be honest. I'm personally putting an extra 350k a year into my live account just from not being in the US. And to me personally, that sounds very appealing because I'm able to grow faster. I'm next to Dubai, so I can also maintain my apartments. Once they're ready in a couple of years, I'll be able to maintain if tenants, even though obviously I have it under an agency, etc. But if I want to buy more or do business, because I see the money is over this side of the world. So as far as signing clients and managing their capital, most of my clients will probably be from Saudi Arabia, Japan, China, and a lot of clients from the US as well. So I mean, it's not really a difficult flight. You fly business or first, and you use it as a point to sleep, really. So yeah, I don't really like the US, to be honest. As good as it is, I'd rather not be there, especially as of now. I mean, we're on the brink of World War III, and if it did kick off, the US could potentially get fucked. And I don't really want to be a part of it. And I asked ChatGPT as well about that, because that is one of my concerns. Like, recently, it became a concern. And Thailand came to be the most neutralized, safest place to be if there was World War III. But it likely won't happen. But yeah. Milo, where are you getting these clients from? So it's people that I've met in the past and they have already a high net worth. And when you have a high net worth friend or a high net worth contact, they also know someone else, and you get referred, and you get referred, and you get referred. So it doesn't take a long time to build up a decent amount. So price is re-swept buy side. So we look from this point, obviously for shorts. Okay, so Manic ICT, if I keep taking payouts from 53 down to 52, how does that stay within Apex 30% consistency after each payout reset? For example, my best day is $600. I won't need 2k profit since my last. So 30%, 3,000 times 0.3 is 900. So if we do 2,600 times 0.3, that's 780. So 2,100. Yeah, so basically, yeah, 2,000 put 600 under 30%. Yeah, I just shared my screen again, so you should be able to see that. Milo, what do you do on the weekends other than backtest? Just enjoy life, mate. What do you do on your weekends? But yeah, nothing too crazy on the weekend. Yeah, you said you go to the gym. Obviously, yeah, I hit the gym over the weekend. Sometimes I go to the island, which is a boat away from where I'm at. And at the island, just hop on a jet ski, chill by the beach, have, a few fresh coconut drinks, a few meals, and then head back to the mainland. And that's pretty much it. I'm very focused as of now on business. Do you go fishing? No, I can't stand fishing, and that's never been my thing. I've never fished in my life. I fish money out of the market, but I don't fish the sea. Not really a big fan of fish, to be honest. Never really liked fish. I used to eat a lot of salmon, but prefer steaks, really. Longest stay in Thailand. What visa is better? DTV? Yeah, get the DTV work visa. You should pay around $700 for it. Would you ever own a boat? Yeah. In the future, I'll buy a yacht. Sushi? Nah, not really. Don't really see the point in sushi, to be honest. I used to buy it from Tesco, but don't really rate it, to be honest. Yeah, so no trade in the lunch as of now. It's been a pretty eventful day. So I'm currently sat up 1.85R on my top step accounts on the day. And the rest of the accounts are currently sat plus 0.1R, so they're basically at break even. They're up like $50. And then my two live accounts are up 0.75R, well actually around 0.6. Would you need the DTV before getting to Thailand? So when you come to Thailand, if you're from the US or the UK, you have to check what country with ChatGPT, but you get 2 months on arrival, and then you can extend $150 for 30 days, So that's 3 months. So you get 3 months up front, and then after 3 months, you then get the DTV. So you would fly to like Philippines or Vietnam, and then currently Vietnam's apparently the fastest, but I would rather go to the Philippines, to be honest. Or you can go to Vietnam, it's fine. And then whilst you're out, they do the whole visa. It takes like 10 days, and then you come back to Thailand. I mean, you have a 5-year DTV visa. You can stay for 6 months at a time, and also extend. So you can stay 1 year at a time, and then you leave the country, and then let's say you go to Dubai for a few days, you come back, you get another 6 months. So unlimited entries and exits. Okay, so this will probably be a record day if this is a shift in structure. So this will be our 3rd trade. So let's see if we actually get a shift in structure here. This will be interesting. Wow, an interesting day. Okay, so the daily's still bearish. I'm just checking over the bias here. The 4 hours still bearish, and the hourly still bearish. So we've got a bearish bias, and ES failed the shift in structure, so that's a failed shift on ES. Would we not wait for ES to take buy side? Brother, what do you mean? Yeah, buy side was already swept from this area here. We swept buy stops. Buy stops. Just a failed shift on ES, so likely that we just draw back towards buy stops at the short term high. That's pretty much it. Sometimes this chair sounds like it's going to blow up, mate. So failed shift, reaches back towards the short-term high, so buy stops. And we see, does price shift from this area or not? And that would close off this macro. And then we would be finished for the stream until about 1 PM EST. I'll keep you guys updated in the AM prep channel. And then we'll go live for our backtesting session. We're also backtesting tomorrow on Saturday, and backtesting on Sunday as well, potentially. So my plan is that we do a little bit of backtesting today. We'll see how far we get. And then on Saturday and Sunday we'll be able to smash out, you know, a lot more work really. Yeah, obviously if we shift lower as of now, that would be the classic unicorn model, but it's basically just a gap and a breaker block, sweeper liquidity, bearish bias, gap on both assets. August today, September plus October tomorrow, November plus December Sunday. November and December we're probably not going to do now. So we do August today, September, October we do over the weekend, and then I'll decide whether I need to do November as well. So Yeah, so that's a questionable question that he's put in the chat. Like, is that a question asked about ICT? Dr. Scene is waiting until marriage. Yeah, I've obviously, everyone's failed on that part. I mean, so Dr. Scene is saying that he's a virgin. That's mad. I don't even know if that's not mad. That's fucked. I mean, when you said acceptable, I mean, as a man, if you got below 10, then that's not acceptable. You need at least a body count of 10. I don't really, I mean, most people shouldn't really be focusing on it. You'd only pay attention to things like that if you don't get any women, really. Mine's put 10 question mark. Yeah, 10's like, you're not really experienced the space, even at 10. You haven't really got any experience. So 10's like, I don't know, maybe I've lost it, but 10 is like very beginner, mate. Haram, mate. I mean, that's one of my downfalls, I'd say. I don't know. I personally like women, so I'm not going to disclose my body count, but it's fucking through the roof, mate. So I'm like fucking Johnny Sins, mate. I've done it all, but I tell you what, women will waste your time. So one piece of advice, and the only piece of advice I could give you, is you will make more progress with one woman than having 4 or 5 of them at the same time. That's one thing that I've personally learnt. So having one female, and whether you can class her as a good female, right, and you class, so whether NQ shifts here in structure or not, but whether you can class her as a good female, right, even if she walks out of your life and leaves, or you leave and you have to go somewhere, right, and that's it shouldn't affect you. So I'm always open. If a female leaves, we can always get another one. Can give a flying rat. That is a nice shift in structure if we get that. This would be our inversed order block. If we look on the 5-minute time frame, we've got a 5-minute swing low, which is our invalidation low. I'm looking at the time as well. We're coming relatively close to the end of the macro, but I am looking to see if we get a trade here, because this is actually possible. Okay, so this is our order block to be inversed. There's no order block here. And then on ES, this is our order block to be inversed. So ES's order block to be inverse won't be paired with a gap, and NQ's order block to be inverse won't be paired with a gap. We can't take that order block. We can't take this order block, so we got inversed, and then yeah. So we can only take this order block. They both got respected, so there's no order block paired with this gap. This order block could be inverse, but it would take the 5-minute invalidation low. So there's no trade here. Okay. No trade. So yeah, going back to the topic, what time's backtesting? It's going to be at 1 p.m. EST. But yeah, going back to the topic of, women, I used to always aspire to having about 4 or 5 women on rotation. But once I achieved that, it wasn't really too beneficial to the business because I spent a lot of time trying to go back to. So picture it like this: you have to see each one of these women at least once a week, and then number 1, 2, and 3, and you end up just finding yourself with no time every single day. You're basically just fucking these females, and it takes up a lot of your energy, a lot of your time. But if you just have one female, then business, everything in life is going to be very disciplined and focused, and you don't have to waste time by texting these females, etc. So you can have like 1 or 2, but it's pretty peaceful with 1, especially if she cleans and cooks as well and does the standard tasks. Then it's great, really. So yeah, that short's not valid. Hopefully that makes sense to why we didn't take that. But let's give credit to the person that solved my addiction with women and running multiple women at the same time, which was actually C4. The man himself spoke to him on the phone about God, and I didn't actually believe it at the time, but it's pretty crazy. But big things have changed since then, so credit to C4. Especially in the last 3-4 months, I've had the most craziest shit happen in my life, and the direction that I've been given by God, as crazy it might sound, but it's been undeniably a coincidence. I'll tell you that. C4 dropping bombs. He's also dropping bombs on his accounts as well. I mean, he's got a lot of capital. So yeah, you can clearly see that order block on NQ is not paired with the gap. Same with ES. Both these order blocks got respected. So this second shift in structure, it wouldn't be valid because price is likely going to take this low. If it doesn't take this low and it does shift, then I'll be open for a short, 100%. But we're outside of macro actually, so yeah, end of macro. Alright, well that concludes our trading session for today. Hopefully you found it useful. We closed up 1.8R. So we're currently, I know the majority of the accounts didn't really secure that, but we're currently up about 2R in January as of now. So we'll see what the rest of January presents. We're going to be backtesting August, the London session in the PM, shortly as well. So I'll speak to you guys shortly. I'm going to go make a steak. Have a good evening.